about the Metro cards and the food. Trans people are extremely impoverished. I myself make $50 a week. That's what I survive on, to live and to eat and everything. Most transgender people have it a little bit better, a little bit worse than I do. When I make my travels, I do ask for a Metro card. I ask to be reimbursed for my travels because I cannot afford $2.50 to go out and use the train, which turned out to be $5. And food. Most transgender people, a lot of transgender people are homeless. We're double the national average of homelessness, and that does stand in the Bronx as well. And these transgender people are looking for some food. Those are the incentives to get a trans person to a meeting. So what I'm asking for is a budget for the trans committee. That number has not been worked out. Off the top of my head, it would be anywhere between $500 to $1,000 a year. That would allow me the resources that I need in order to engage the community within the Bronx.
I'm sorry, you said 2,500 to 1,000? 500 to 1,000.
And also a place where we can meet. That's been all.
Well, the place where we can meet, we do have space available for meetings. So just let me know.
All right.
And the budget is for transportation and
budgets for transportation and food. And then lastly, transgender people in the Bronx need jobs. And that's what I've gotten a lot of feedback from. Jennifer, why do you want me to join your committee when you're not going to pay me? Why do you want me to help for free? And I'm jobless, I'm homeless, and I'm having to work on the street so that I can get by.
Would somebody like to provide an answer for that, or?
I have the answer.
Okay, what's the answer?
The answer is that we're not going to pay them, unfortunately. Well, but my thing
this is what I would say to them. I'm sorry to cut you off, but by coming together and building our community up together, we can help and support each other so that we're better prepared and better able to go out and look for a job. If people do come onto the committee, we can begin providing services. I know that there are some people out there who help transgender people specifically on how to dress appropriately for a job interview and things along those lines. So by coming together and helping our own community, we can help each other, lift each other up out of poverty and move forward with our lives. So that would be my answer to them. If you come together and you volunteer, you'll learn how to do these things. You'll learn how to search for a job. We'll be able to help you. Everyone can help each other. It's about being a community. That's part of what being a community is about, is helping each other.
And
part about organization too, so that everyone's not out there trying to do it on their own. Let's bring everyone together, make a group, make an organization, so that we can understand what their needs are and figure out the best way to maybe help them with some services, which is the point of our organization, provide services. Let's get it together, let's figure out what services they would want, and go from there.
And the point to that was, for anybody listening now or in the future, it's very important that we refer trans people to vacancies, to job vacancies. It's very, very important that we do that. And if you know of any job vacancies that, because we do have some skilled transgender people. I speak for myself as a person that went to Harvard University and has a wonderful resume, that I should not be unemployed, yet I am basically unemployed. And that, I can't say that those credentials stand out in the trans community, but there are other people in the trans community that do have an education and are being slighted for jobs. So if you do know somebody that, let's say, is a manager at Best Buy or any other place that may be hiring, send that my way. Send that my way, and let's make a referral for a Bronx transgender person.
Okay. Stephen?
I totally agree with you, Jennifer, saying that even with my job, when I was a cashier manager for a big Halloween costume shop out in CH, so I understand what it is. And we do, I can say this for a fact, most of us need the LGBTQ community. We even have a transgender lawyer for our store, one of our departments. Usually, I can't say we could guarantee hiring right now, but come around, I'm take my info. Usually September, October, when it's Halloween season. Even if it's just a seasonal job, you know, we'll keep in contact. We can definitely pass things over to them and to the hiring manager as well. Because what I love about my store, they love diversity. They love diversity. There's many times I get into it with my quote-unquote street and co-workers, and I let them have it. I really let them have it. So, and they learn to accept me. They learn to accept the other person. We love the transgender. Know that we work with Diana, and definitely she's amazing. She's great at what she does. So, you know, we'll keep in contact, and whatever I can help you guys with, I will. Because it's not easy at all, especially me being a drag queen. So, you know, one hand washes the other. So I totally understand how it is.
Okay, great. That's it. Okay, so moving on, we're going to go to Bronx Pride 2015, and this is something you spoke about, Randy. We're I'm going to go back to it, but I'm just sorry.
Why are you skipping?
Skipping the goals.
Yeah, I mean, I have some ideas. Okay.
Okay.
I just want to say that they're all talking about, you know, bringing services to people that we don't even know who they are. There's a lot of stuff going on in the gay community. First of all, gay marriage. Why don't we do something about that? Not that we're going to advocate, we're going to put in an amicus brief, but basically make a note that, and for all our community, for everybody in the Bronx, we're getting together for the Supreme Court decision on gay marriage. You know, you don't have to make it, dress it up or anything like that. Just get people together because we have a common interest. Another one would be a viewing party for RuPaul's Drag Race. Orange is the New Black, you know, the new season starting viewing party. Get people used to the idea of coming together, and they'll come. You know, you can't find them under a microscope. You know, turn over all the rocks. What you can do is figure out the commonalities, which are that we're gay, and let's take advantage of that. There are things that currently exist that people care about, but they care about them, you know, in the confines of their own little house.
Okay.
That viewing party is a great idea.
Me too.
It's free. It's something fun. It gets people involved. It gets up there.
So, you know, let's pick a date and venue, and let's get started.
Do we know where we could do something like that?
In somebody's home. I think that would probably be the best place for that sort of. I mean, because there aren't really any public spaces to watch, you know, TV, especially when it requires cable, like something like RuPaul's Drag Race, or Orange is the New Black is.
We can ask the Anti-Violence Project if we can use their conference room. They actually have cable and things like that. It's actually Orange is the New Black.
And where's their?
They're located
in Manhattan.
I would even
Right.
say
So
a sports bar. You know, just basically ask if we could.
I was thinking something along those lines too. I don't know if there's any place in the Bronx that would be a sports bar type atmosphere that we could just.
Ruckner Bar and Grill wants a $500 deposit.
But if I mean, it doesn't have to be so formal, I don't think.
It's a $500 deposit to have an event.
Can't we just be a bunch of people going to a bar and watching TV together?
They're not going to let you.
Charlie's is sympathetic to our community.
Charlie's Bar and Grill, my
Yeah. Where's that?
So yeah.
That's someplace we can.
Has anybody ever been there? They have television.
I haven't seen it.
They don't have a TV.
But I'm quite sure we can actually go sit at the bar. Let me do that. Let me check it out.
Just say
check it out.
Just say we want to have a viewing party.
Yeah.
What can you offer us?
Okay.
Don't just find out what they have. Don't demand things.
No. I know.
Please also take into consideration safety of the location.
Yeah, that's
So, yeah, Charlie's is not close to the subway. But Stephen, do you want to?
6 train.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, then we'll do our thing. We'll see what we do.
And
Do you
then
want to?
the next thing, the first thing we have
Oh,
to do,
wait,
as soon
Randy,
as we
just
have a date and a
wait,
venue,
Randy,
is to
Randy.
publicize it.
I'm sorry. I just want to finish with Stephen. Okay. Would you be willing to scout out a venue and maybe start a viewing party?
I can definitely do that.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, Randy.
Well, we have all these other, I've been sitting here listening and various things have come up, Sage, out Riverdale, other organizations, the liaisons here, the ministers thing. As soon as we know that we've got this event, it's really important that we let our allies and friends know so that they can start talking, get some buzz around it, and that's the first thing we need to do is we need to have a date at a time and start the buzz.
Are you in Sage as well?
No, that's my classmate's partner.
Okay.
But she said they're always willing to work with us on any events. I mean, I don't know if we'd be able to use the space at night, but I can put an ask out.
Does Sage have a permanent space here in the Bronx?
Yes,
Yeah, right
it's
I know there's a
upstairs.
Sage Bronx, but I didn't know if they had a permanent space.
It's
Yeah,
upstairs.
on the second floor.
Oh, here.
Yeah.
And then, the things that matter to us aren't provincial. They matter to gay people. So again, around the marriage thing, why not reach out to the center in Manhattan? Why not reach out to all the other, organizations or not organizations or whatever, marriage equality. The thing, people say, we want to celebrate this in the Bronx. Come up, help us do that. I don't know. And when's the argument? In April?
I don't know.
Why don't you know?
I should know that, shouldn't I? I will find out, I promise you.
The point being, there are things that well, you got my point. I don't have to repeat it. Sorry.
So, well, I mean, we're implementing one of them, it sounds like, or at least we're gonna make strides to. I'd love this viewing party, the group hall viewing party idea. And then we have someone that's gonna,
We'll definitely look into it.
I want to be the MC.
You might have
I
some
need-
competition. You might have some competition, Randy.
I need a mic. Clearly, I need a mic.
I would be here.
I am weird.
You had other points you wanted to make, or you said you had a
No,
list?
it just in the sense that we, we talk a lot about what is wrong in the Bronx, and we all understand that. And I agree with Jennifer. May I call you Jennifer? That we need to be a presence in the criminal courts. I remember when that terrible Wilding incident happened. There was a whole bunch of people. I remember Dirk was one of the spokespeople at the time for the center. And it seemed like there was a whole bunch of people standing behind him that said, who said this is outrageous and we're not going to tolerate it. So I think one of the things we need to do is, as soon as something happens, do that. Get out in front of the microphones and say, this is intolerable, we're this gay community, we're going to be in court, that, we want an indictment. Loud.
well, maybe something we could do along those lines is, first, I think on a case-by-case, individual basis, we should be in contact with the victim and make sure that they want our presence throughout their process. And assuming that they do want our presence throughout their criminal participation in the criminal process, then we could use the dissemination tactics that George brought up. We put it on our Facebook page. Hey, so-and-so's criminal trial is on this day, or they won't be arraigned. They'll be, whatever the process may be. We're looking for supporters to come out and meet us on the front steps at 10 o'clock or something. Again, that's something that can be done with very little organization, other than just sending out, putting a post on our Facebook page. And one of the other important things is it's free. And what is it doing? But it's providing a service, which is what we're about, providing services. So, great ideas.
Chad, I'm gonna help you one on that. As an example, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, I made the transgender violence group on Facebook. That is how now nationally, and I know we're dealing with the Bronx, but as an example, nationally, we're able to come together as a community now. And anytime violence happens within a transgender community, it's normally posted on that page, and all of us know right away. So what I would suggest is that we do a sort of a Bronx group like that, where if any violence happens in the Bronx against any LGBTQ person, that anybody can go into that group and post about it and say, hey, look, you know, here goes the details that I have. This other person says, here goes the details that I have. We put all the details together, and we call up Michelle and tell Michelle what's going on.
Okay.
I would like to know what the schedule of meetings is, because if we're asking people around the table to go out and do things and come back to us, they should be able to come back within a reasonable period of time, and we should be able to in turn act on their information within a reasonable period of time.
There are no scheduled membership meetings except for the annual meeting, but we can hold additional meetings, and that's one of the things I want to talk about later, because there was, after the last membership meeting in January, people were talking about having quarterly membership meetings. The board meets every month,
Okay.
and it's during the second week of the month on a rotating basis. So it goes from Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. The first month of the quarter is Tuesday. The second month of the quarter is Wednesday. The third month of the quarter is Thursday, and then it goes back again to Tuesday. But it's always during the second week.
Okay. So the second one.
Or the second Tuesday, the second Thursday, whatever.
I understand.
So, but those are the board meetings.
Peter, I thought we talked about putting out an email to members before they come up with this, because I know we discussed this earlier, that we wanted members to come to our board meetings, our open meetings. I thought we were just going to send them an email
And,
to
and,
members.
and also the agenda. You know, we're going to talk about this. We're going to.
Can I propose that we do some sort of planning committee, and I would suggest that this lady be the chair of that committee, because you're coming up with some great ideas, and I've been to board meetings, I've listened to board meetings, and I have not seen this much enthusiasm.
You know, that the problem is that there's a lot of enthusiasm. There's not much action. So let's get
As they say, action speaks louder than words.
So I put a motion to make that committee. I'll second.
Okay, so question, standing committee on what? Just,
Planning committee,
planning committee, okay.
planning for events, and I mean, aside from our big event, right?
Yeah.
Planning for events, planning organizational things such as rallies, such as parties, such as things that are going to engage our members to want to stay members and want to grow this organization.
well said.
So it would be a planning committee for services and events, or just minor events, or just.
I see there are actually two prongs. The first is getting people in, by various means that are social and fun, and the other is getting a presence on our issues when it's important to speak up. And some of those can't be planned because they come up, very suddenly. But if you have, this committee, then you've got a phone tree, an email tree, something. So those are the two things. And somebody's going to start it. You don't have to worry about who's going to. Somebody's going to be running with this information.
Okay.
And as far as emergencies go, I mean, the use of Facebook, I'll tell you, and I'm sorry I talk about other boroughs than the Bronx. I do get a lot of suggestions that I see in other boroughs, but in Brooklyn, when we had the Transforming Beacon, within, I'd say 6 hours, I had about 200 people down by the scene. And all media news stations were there, and we were the front story on every single news media station. So we can mobilize extremely quickly.
Yes.
What is the status of our Facebook page?
In terms of.
Like,
how frequently it's updated, who's administrating it?
Hasn't been updated very frequently lately. Maybe one post a month or so. But there are a few different people who are authorized to post for it. And I know that's something that you, Edwin, and I need to sit down and discuss.
Separately from that conversation, just in terms of what, I'm sorry, what was your name again?
I'm sorry, Randy.
Randy is talking about in terms of like getting a presence. I think that Facebook, like Jennifer was saying, would be a really useful tool in organizing political events as well as social events. And I think that if we could get people connected on Facebook, that would make it easier to connect people in real life.
Right. We also have,
Instagram too.
I think we.
just so everyone is aware, we have a full slate of social media accounts. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Instagram, Pinterest, LinkedIn, and we also have
There's no reason for anybody to check it unless there's something
Yeah.
going on.
we also have a mailing list that isn't being utilized, although that's currently frozen. But that's another issue.
With,
So there hasn't been anyone to post updates.
I want to do something. I want to do something about around. I shouldn't say this is a political issue, gay marriage. Now some people may not be in favor of it, but it is coming before the Supreme Court. That's a big deal. So we can invite people from Queens. We can invite
April 28th.
That's
That's the date of the oral argument.
All right. So let's do let's do the weekend before.
So there's a motion on the floor, and I do need to ask one question, because Randy, you were named as its chair. I want to make sure that you're okay with that and accept that.
Oh, I didn't. Okay, I'll chair the planning committee. Okay.
So is there any?
But you might not like that once I get Just, be careful.
Is there any further discussion? Any other comments?
I just have a question because you talked about how there were two prongs. The social, is that the planning committee for just social stuff or for all of it?
It's fine.
Okay.
I mean, as long as there is a point person and you hear something and you know who to call, then I do my thing and get everybody out. I don't necessarily have the information first, but now I am the person to call.
Okay. George, you had a question?
Yeah, I guess my question comment is, do we need, I think we understand what we're talking about here, but for the future, do we need to have a good description of what the planning committee does, what they plan to do, what the scope of it is?
No, let's do something first.
Yeah.
I'm
more along the lines of
words
let's
don't mean
do
anything.
things.
Let's do something. Okay.
All right. So all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'm suggesting the Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, the 23rd, 24th, and 25th, which would be right before the Supreme Court argument.
Of April or
Yes.
April? Okay.
It's not. I don't believe it's Easter's earlier in the month. So one of those days, let's get something going for the Supreme Court argument.
Just as a suggestion, if it's an inside event, great, no problem. If you are ever planning to do an outside event like a demo or a get together, it's always good to either reach out to us, let us know, or reach out to that local precinct so that they're aware that this meeting you'll get a large crowd. I'll give you the end of June when marriage equality passed in New York. We needed to close down the street on Christopher Street. I'm sure it would be able to be done, but it's always better to let them know. So if you always want to reach out to us and get, just advice, feel free to reach out to us.
Okay, it's in the planning stage.
Great. No
all right,
problem.
now,
Just to follow that up, Detective Duffy, when we've done our community walks in the past, we reached out to Borough Command as well as Liaison's office, and you guys were there at all the community walks we've done, and Borough Command also contacted the precinct force and coordinated to provide precinct protection as well.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
depending on the event, if you're going to do a bar night and you're getting together to watch Orange is the New Black, Michelle and I might show up. That's great. We might give the precinct a heads up, just what we call a
courtesy.
courtesy, but we also call they'll do drive-by. They won't set somebody,
Right.
there won't be, but there'll be directed patrol. That's what I was trying to say. Not a drive-by, that's the wrong. We might call it drive-by. We call it directed patrol, so they just know, 666 Broadway, there's an event going on, we're gonna make sure we know about it, or whatever it is. So I always think that's a good idea. But it's never to interfere with your event. It's really to make sure your event's safe and that you have the support you need.
I mean, I don't think it'll be any problem at all getting a representative of marriage equality.
Yeah.
And I think people will be excited if they see that, right here in the Bronx. Everyone will, maybe not him, I know. So it's possible.
Now, along the lines of organizing and being able to stay in contact and whatnot, the phone is kind of a little bit outdated right now. I can press the enter key right now, and we will have a a Facebook group for our center.
We already have one.
We do?
Yeah.
We do?
We do? Why don't
It was created recently.
Okay, can you have me do that group?
We will.
Can you have me?
But it was.
Huh?
Is that the review?
No.
No.
And I
Not the
think-
group I made.
and the
Wait,
reason-
what?
Which group that you made?
I made an LGBT community in the Bronx. That was a group I made.
I thought it was for the center.
Oh, well, you could use it for the center. Yeah, I just used it mostly. My name is Edwin. I'm with the Youth Initiative. So I mostly made it for the youths and also the elderly and also the adults, so we can just communicate with each other about events happening in the Bronx pertaining to the LGBT community.
What's the title of that group?
Oh God, I remember. I think it's the LGBT Bronx LGBT community, I believe. If you can find it, I hope it's there.
And I'm sorry, what was it, a Facebook page? you said?
Yes,
Group.
a group page. Mhm.
No, group. Not a page. A group.
A group page, yeah.
Right, and the reason why I say
Just group. Yeah, just
Okay,
group.
so the reason why I say group is the power of the group is that you can see who's in the group, and you can reach out to them and contact them, or you can post within that group whatever it is that you want to communicate
Exactly.
and organize. And it'll pop up and show you if you're not familiar with it. It'll pop up a little thing to show you that is. But it does have to be strictly it has to be private. Yeah, number one, and number two, it has to be administered properly.
Yeah.
I'm guilty of putting all my events in every single group that I'm in, and the admins do a wonderful job at deleting it. So we have to be able to
Right. Well, that's something that committees can work out. I think. So,
So let me ask, is anybody interested in marriage equality? Okay.
Yeah, I'll do whatever you need.
All right, so let's get started. All right, good. So use.
Mine is husband's range.
so
Social media thing is really confusing.
okay.
This may just be a generational thing, but I feel like that's like the best way to be doing outreach. Is I can't find the page that Edward's talking about.
I just came over to LGBT Community Service Center, is that it?
That's our Facebook page.
So Bronx.
This is a group.
My husband's the IT person, I have no idea.
I mean, if anything, I sent the link to Peter. You got the link to the email, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, he
It's
can just forward it to you guys.
Buried like
Oh, okay.
3,000 emails ago.
So I'll resend it again, and then
No,
you can just.
I have it.
okay.
It's just last week.
Harlem Bronx LGBT Task Force.
No.
No.
We'll just write down our emails and we'll get.
Yeah, yeah, that'll be better. Yeah.
I'll post it to the Facebook page. How's that?
And that group is private because I figured if you post anything, I don't want it's private and it's administered by me. I have Facebook on my phone, so I'm constantly updating everything. Also,
Yeah, if you can't-
not yet.
I'll talk to you about this. I want to get to a close group. We'll talk.
Okay.
All right. But it's private, so you actually can't find it.
Makes
But
sense.
I'm going to work with Edwin on that to open it up a little bit and still have the controls that we need in order to keep everyone
Maybe
safe.
so you can find it, but you can't see it.
Yeah, that I'll
Oh, the post we make. Yeah.
I'll help with that. All right. So since Jennifer moved to create a committee, Minister, how would you feel about heading up a committee to work on some of the some additional like educational forums and services that we might be able to offer? I know that there are some people who are already interested in helping to create like peer support services, but maybe some other, sort of educational forums and services.
No problem, that's my department.
Okay, so I'm going to move to create well, actually, we have a services committee that's a standing committee of the board, so I'm going to move to appoint Antoinetta, or Minister Etienne rather, to chair that committee and begin populating it.
Second?
If it's okay with everybody else.
All right, hang on a second. I'm serving like triple duty tonight, so I'm taking minutes and I'm sharing the meeting and running all the tech. So sorry. Share the services. Motion. Is there any discussion? Okay, seeing no discussion, I'll call the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Okay. So are there any other thoughts or ideas about services, goals of the organization, what we should be doing, direction?
Well, I suggested this on, I think some of you have already seen my posts about this. There's discussion about using the public library building that's empty for community uses, and I would love it if the LGBT community center can get in on the ground floor planning on that. And I don't know who to talk to, but this, I mean, it's now, it's happened. If you don't start making some noise that we want a part of it, it's not gonna happen. But it just seems like opportunity is falling in our laps and we can't let it, just go away.
What, I don't know, library, yeah, give me a little background.
Okay, there's a huge building that used to be the Bronx Public Library, it's been abandoned, and there's a lot of talk now about using it.
The one on Fordham or
Yeah.
Kingsbridge?
Fordham. It's the Fordham Library.
Oh,
Mhm.
Now, I don't know if
Kingsbridge is the new library that's
Yeah.
being used. So it's the Fordham Library.
I don't know if there's a development plan, like, right
There-
now, they're thinking about having various organizations and offices. I don't know, but let's get our voice on that planning so that maybe we can,
We need a physical location, right?
maybe we can have a space there. That's what they're planning on doing. Right now, we don't know what they're doing. And I would hate to come late to the party where it's already done. We don't have any say in it.
So there was a public library, I'm assuming it's the city-owned building.
Okay.
So, I mean, I'm asking,
Yeah.
we would assume.
Yeah, and I think that, it's sort of the kind of thing that is happening all over the Bronx. People want to use the infrastructure like the Armory and, this whole new ice skating thing. People want to use what's here to its best advantage, And I think that is really, really a good thing that they want to use this building. It's apparently a beautiful building. I've never been inside of it.
So you've heard through it some source or read in the news media that they want to do some things like
Yes,
this?
yes, something is on the drawing board, but I don't know. Yeah.
Who did
It's definitely, they're considering uses for it. And there have been 10 different proposals that have been floated.
Okay, but who's coordinating the proposals?
The Borough President's Office and Councilman Torres, I believe.
Okay, so let's get somebody who is a member of our board, so we can be taken seriously, to right away go and make that conversation, have that conversation, whether it's the Borough President or Torres, have the conversation now. We want to see the table, we want to know what's going on, we want
I volunteer to write, should I write Torres or the borough president a letter?
You need to do both.
Okay, I'll do that. We will-
just get on the phone.
Or that, yeah. Or you know what? Please have both.
Can I ask a question? What are we doing to drive more members? I know that we've done a lot of tabling. I'm not sure how much name collecting we've done, data collecting we've done. What does our database look like as far as reaching out to Bronx LGBTQ people?
You mean what is our current membership status?
No.
Oh.
What is our database
I would bet
of
you
LGBTQ people in the Bronx that we can reach out to and say, hey, look, we exist here and we need your assistance. We need you to join us, become members, and to put some sort of for lack of a better word, sales campaign to drive these people to become members.
So that's what all this planning is for.
I was just about to say the exact same thing. I think that is one of the benefits of having like this viewing party, because maybe I'll bring a friend or two, maybe you'll bring a friend or two, you'll bring a friend or two,
Well, I mean, do we have a database of LGBT people, LGBTQ people in the Bronx?
I have a lot of them on page.
I
Can
just
we put
recently
together-
learned that there's an active LGBTQ group in Co-op City. They're very, they're very insular, but let's get them, bring them on board.
Can we put together a database of the LGBTQ people in the Bronx?
No,
Why
maybe.
wouldn't we be able to?
Maybe organizations, but definitely not.
It's impossible to do people. We can
I'm not
put
saying every
together
single-
we can
every
put
single
together
person.
a database of people who signed up for our mailing list and people who are actual members of the organization. Those numbers I can get for you, but getting people who are LGBTQ, I mean, not everyone's out. Not everyone's going to want to be identified. It's like
I'm asking the people that do want to be identified, the people that wouldn't mind
it's
being
still kind of
identified.
a what do you call it, a task and futility or.
Well, it's word of
Well,
mouth.
people that have given us their email addresses, that's probably over 1,000 people at this point, right?
Our mailing list is over 2,300, but not everyone is in the Bronx. So we have no way of identifying where these people live.
So do a survey.
Mhm.
Send a survey that, whatever it's called, that monkey survey, whatever it's called, to find out if they live in the Bronx, or are they affiliated with the Bronx, or if they would like to attend a forum in the Bronx, or invite them to how can we provide better services for the LGBTQ community.
We actually have a needs assessment survey that we've been distributing when we table at events, and I believe the interns are going to be working on getting that online.
Okay.
I guess I-
As they're looking.
For lack of a better word, I guess my idea is more outreach. We need, maybe we need an outreach committee.
We have an outreach committee that's vacant. So,
So we need the outreach committee to actually do something.
well, it's vacant. I mean, we have a lot of committees. The problem is that people have not stepped forward to help fill the committees or help the organization or do a lot of the work that, we have set up that needs to be done.
It sounds like the planning
Have you
committee
identified
is,
things
has
that
a s-
actually,
Anybody want to nominate as the committee chair for now?
well, it sounds like the planning committee that we were just talking about is focusing on doing outreach events. So maybe for now,
Basically,
we just focus our energy in that one, on that one committee, getting as many people involved and doing what we can with that. And then when we have more involvement and more people to fill committees, broadening the scope or narrowing the
And
scope.
perhaps we can find a way within the structure of the grant that's governing you guys, or if you guys just want to volunteer outside of the grant to work on that as well.
Yeah.
Especially with social media. So.
Yeah.
so the second week of April, when is your board meeting? Is it,
April would be the first month of the quarter, so it's the second Tuesday.
okay, so
I don't have the, that
that
would be.
the 14th.
Yes,
I will
and
put that- I will make it in
it's 6:30 here.
6:30.
We're doing 6:30, Jeff, for the board meetings?
That works, yes.
That's the. Oh, yeah. And I want to hear back from everybody, who's all full of energy tonight, what's going on. I mean, I plan to do some phone calls and stuff.
I've got a bunch of ideas.
Let's hear them.
I'm excited. I always had a bunch of ideas, going back to especially to when I used to be with the old Bronx Pride Community Center at one time, before they closed down. There was a lot of things that me and a few other people were doing, but they fell off the bandwagon. But what things that we used to do is have a men's group. We used to have a men's group.
Work with Antoinetta on that.
Okay.
Minister NTN. That's
Yeah.
something that,
But there's just so many things that I have in my head, There's also, the transgender community, most of them want to learn better makeup skills, I have no problem. I don't mind teaching that. It's something that I love to do. It's makeup that I like. You don't have to go out looking like as I call myself on stage, a circus clown, because I'm pounding on makeup. But there's different styles of makeup for you to look, professional, especially for going on job interviews, not overdoing things. So many things that I used to do, and I want to get back into the habit of doing things like that again.
Reach out to us. We can actually get Mac. Mac
I have
donates
somebody
to.
that works for Mac.
Mac donates to nonprofits. and we're especially looking to get into the trans communities.
Perfect. So you wanna start a group? You wanna start an event? I say do it. And we'll put it on our social media.
You've got a perfect luncheon pad with the roof party.
Yeah,
That's a, you know,
that's perfect.
that's
So,
a,
I
Stephen,
just
do you
can't
wanna
stop someone asked me.
do you wanna put together some ideas maybe and come back, you know, and that way we can discuss it?
So future comes our meeting on April, whatever we just said,
14th? What day is that?
Tuesday.
Tuesday evening.
I could take that off. If it's not here, right?
Okay, so what about the liaisons? Are there things that you think we could be doing as a community center, you know, given that we're very limited resources and
No, we wouldn't really have anything to say on that. I mean, that's really not our role, but we'll support anything we do. It's just not our place to.
well, and any ideas that you've seen other?
I think what I'm hearing is wonderful. I mean, all the ideas that I've heard are actually brilliant ideas. You know, we're also on our own board of the Gay Section League, and we have the same issues getting members to come and attend. And you know, 1 month you have 3 people, and the next month you have 25. It's just that thing, and you just have to keep going at it and going at it and going at it. But we'll support anything we do. I think the couple of nights that were already suggested are great nights to get people involved in things that might interest them, and then you can also let them know about the other stuff. And on our end, it's great to just hand out more safety information, even if it just comes from you. You know what I mean? If we don't attend, if we can't make everyone, you let them know, oh, you know, you ran into someone that had an issue. Here's the liaison's number, email, call them, contact them. I just think that for our own end, it's to support you in whatever you choose to do, and it sounds great from what I'm hearing.
And we definitely appreciate the support, and you guys have been, you know, wonderfully supportive of everything we've done so far. So we very much appreciate that, especially sitting through all this discussion tonight.
And we were actually going to wait until Gay Pride topic comes up. If there's something.
Yeah,
I'm
actually getting to that next.
Next topic, if there's something specific NYPD, please bring that to the forefront. Otherwise, we're going to have to leave right after that.
So,
Thank you very much.
so if we're
Well, I know that they want to leave, but just while we're on this subject, very, very quick, I think we should touch upon helping out our homeless population.
okay, so let's go to Pride, because Pride is actually going to be very quick, and then we can go back to that.
Okay, all right.
So planning for Pride has begun. There was a lot of background stuff that had to be done, but the first actual committee meeting for Pride is going to take place next Thursday. It's going to be 7 p.m. Next Thursday, 7 p.m. at Destination Tomorrow, which is the Bank Building. It's 1231 Lafayette Avenue in the Bronx. If you're interested in joining the committee, please contact me. Destination Tomorrow and Sean Coleman will be partnering with us for Pride this year. We hope to partner with a whole bunch of other organizations in the community to do Pride this year. And we are going to have a pretty full agenda for our first committee meeting next Thursday. So there are some things that we're thinking about doing differently, and we need to make those decisions basically next Thursday. But in terms of Pride itself, it's going to be Saturday, July 18th, same place, Cortona Park. We're thinking of doing it maybe a little bit longer. Do you know if that would be an issue?
It's a request to the Parks Department. I don't think time, we might be able to stretch it. I do think dancing is probably going to be an issue. I don't know of any park that has allowed that. It's all based on their requirements. But I was just going to say that if you want us to attend, send me an email. Michelle's going to be out of town, but I'll try to make it. Unless you think that it's not something that you want us there at that meeting because you want open.
Oh, you mean the planning committee?
Yeah.
I don't think you guys.
Yeah,
we could just keep in touch. I thought you meant she was going to be out of town for Pride.
No.
You've been there for 3
I don't take any
years.
vacations in June or July. Now
Yeah, we
August.
don't. And my family always has a wedding or a christening in June. I'm like, I can't attend those. What are you doing? I was a godfather one year. I had to beg my commanding officer to be off in the 6th precinct. They cried. It's crazy. Anything is possible, and I think you should ask, but just be prepared that it might not be a yes. So be willing to take a little bit of a compromise on it.
Right.
I just don't know of any parks event where there was a dance in it. So I don't know what their regulation is on.
Right. Well, in terms of Crotona, what we can do and what we've been thinking about doing is, and this is why I asked about stretching the hours, is the event usually runs from 12 to 6. If we run the event from 12 to 8 and have the last 2 hours as dancing, in Crotona Park, we do it at the amphitheater area, and in front of the stage and also on stage. I remember the first year that we did it, folks got up and danced on stage at the end, but it was only like 15 minutes or something. But if we did the last 2 hours as dancing, so from like 6 to 8, as just purely having the DJ play, they can get up in front of the stage area and also on stage. And that wasn't.
My suggestion would be to sell it as we've gotten more interest in performers performing, and if a DJ is a performer, I mean, the day of the office is there, I'm going to say, oh, you can't dance, But I don't know what the park. See, the problem is there are police offices and there are PEP offices, and they're two different entities. So if the Parks Department police are told, you can't allow dancing, and that happens, I don't want you to, think you're going to do something, and then unfortunately they tell you no, and it'd be a problem. But I'll do a little background check first and see if I can talk to somebody over there and see what their thought on it is, and I'll get back to you.
That would be great. And if the park manager is the same person, she's extremely supportive of us.
The precinct loves the event, and the Parks Department, it's been there a couple of years now. I think it's run very well, and it's gotten some consistency. It's all about, they probably don't want to open the door to let everybody else do these things. So that's my only concern. I'm just not sure whether they'll
I do
sell
know
it as a dance. We're going to have like a 2-hour dance party.
Right.
I mean, it's just
I think it's just music.
Yeah.
We'll just play music, and if people want to get up and dance,
I think that
because
they've
had throughout the summer. I know that they give concerts there, and I think they have.
And if people dance, that's different. You know what I mean? You're not selling it as or marketing it as a dance. I think that's a better way to go at it.
Okay.
You've gotten so and so to perform. Cece Benison, or some other old person I can think of right now. I mean, you guys got to Maybe you can get Empire to perform. Oh my God. No. Get them all. Get a little bit. Oh, that's his name. I use his characters. Just go ahead and make this. Any other questions for us before we leave?
I think that's pretty
and
much
just remember, if you ever have a question, feel free to email us, call us. We'll be happy to address it as soon as we can. We just have to go to another meeting. I apologize.
It's okay.
Thanks, everybody. I'll see you on the 19th.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, yeah. The one thing I just wanted to say, to the liaisons, if there's anything that you need help getting the word out about, or if you just want to send us things, we'll be happy to post them. I think because that could be some good content for social media.
Alvin Garcia's lady.
I know.
Oh, you have to?
Yeah, we do.
Come here.
We'll talk.
Everybody.
Thank you very much, everyone. Have a good night.
Thank you too.
Good night. So again, we thank the NYPD liaisons. They've been extremely supportive. They've attended, multiple events and our membership meetings. Obviously, they're a great resource and support. So Pride, again, the first committee meeting is going to be next Thursday, which is the 19th, 7 p.m. at Destination Tomorrow. That'll go out on our calendar. Also put it out for social media. So is there anyone in the room now who's interested in joining the committee who isn't? I know, Jennifer, you're on. Evan, I put you on, but I wasn't sure if you
Yeah, I'm okay.
Okay.
I'll just be out of town.
Yeah, that's fine. And I might do it by Hangout as well. So. So anyone else interested in joining the Pride Committee? It's probably going to be Mondays.
In that case, I am.
Okay.
What did you mean by partnering with Destination Tomorrow?
They're going to be helping us, and we're doing things jointly with them. So. You're interested? Okay, George.
What is Destination Tomorrow?
Destination Tomorrow is a transgender led organization that helps out LGBTQ. They actually have a center, the only center in the Bronx that's geared towards LGBTQ people.
Where is the center?
Excuse me?
Where is the center?
In the Bankmont building at
It's a
it's 1231 Lafayette Avenue.
Did he move that?
Huh?
Did he move it?
1231 Lafayette Avenue. That's the address you gave me.
Yeah, he
He was one of the award the guy that founded this is one of the award recipients of Borough President's
Mhm.
Pride event last year, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so is there anything else about Pride? Anyone have any questions or?
I don't know what she's done, but it's going to be basically impossible for you if you're going to perform and everything.
Well, you could help with the planning and then perform the day of. So.
Oh, okay. I'm just wondering because I'm like, I mean, how's that going to work out? Because I'm trying to drain me out real too fast. But yeah, that's I'm down.
Well, I'm wearing several hats. I'll throw everything transgender request to have partner with us as well.
Who?
My organization, everything transgender on my site.
Okay. We'll talk. All right. So next up is LGBT senior housing and Sage. First, I guess let's do Sage first. Since the last membership meeting, Sage has opened a space in the Bronx. It's actually upstairs here in Union's building on the second floor. They are providing free lunches for seniors Monday through Friday. They're getting about 10 people a day showing up. They're obviously, their capacity is much greater. And we will be working with them on some events and some other things. So we're very happy to have Sage here in the Bronx. I don't know if you saw the sign when you came in, but their sign is outside. We also have our sign outside on the building. And again, just speaking about Union, we're very grateful and thankful to Union Community Health Center for their support. They've been there from day one for our organization. They continue to be here for us, and we thank them, especially for allowing us the use of this space to hold our meetings. Second part is that there is an initiative to create LGBT senior housing in the Bronx, actually. Anyone who's interested, I have the information. We're being asked to contact all of the council members in the Bronx to express support for it. It's a citywide effort, actually. I think there might be one other borough where they're thinking of creating it, but the main emphasis right now is to create the citywide housing for LGBTQ seniors in the Bronx. And the Fordham Library might be one of the locations they were considering. So that might be one of the projects that they were looking at. So if anyone is interested in helping with that effort, please get in touch with myself or anyone else on the board or one of our interns, or contact us through social media, email, and
What do you think they want us to do?
they want us to call the council members and express support for the effort because they need funding from the city council the group that's behind creating that's doing the initiative. It's a nonprofit foundation.
Do they have a business proposal? I'd love to see it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I imagine they do. I'll put you in touch with Tom. So I'll.
Yeah,
I can do that.
because that would be great. I mean, I'm
Yeah, but they're asking to contact city council members to express that there's a need for it, basically, one, and two, to get funding for it, to have the city council fund it.
I don't know that, but I'll read what they have to say and then I'll contact my councilman. I'm good at that. Everybody's entitled to my opinion.
Very good. And it's also good for, I just want to throw this out there, for people who are living in the Bronx and wherever you are, really, to be in touch with your council member and other elected officials. It's good to establish relationships with their offices, to know who they are so they know who you are, and that our voice is heard. It's one of the ways that we as a community can get things done. Okay. So, any new business?
I had, before the liaisons need to leave, I started.
Sorry, yes.
Yes. Homelessness within the LGBT community is rampant, especially in the transgender community, we're double the national average of homelessness. And I think that's an issue that's that our organization needs to tackle, especially in the Bronx.
That's a very broad statement. What do you mean? We need to identify shelter.
Yeah, identify ways that homeless people can get housing. Identify ways that homeless people can get fair, equal treatment in Bronx shelters. That sort of things.
I think they would. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
It is broad, and I think that starting out broad and seeing what resources we have and what resources we can use to start to tackle that issue.
Isn't that one of the projects that Destination Tomorrow is working on? I think they run a drop-in shelter, don't they?
Not that I know of.
I mean, here's just the first thing that comes to my mind.
Sean's gonna do.
There are several organizations, I think, that do try to provide services for homeless LGBT. Why couldn't we just put a link on our Facebook to all of the existing shelters and Destination Tomorrows and homeless houses and all the places that are
Not in the Bronx.
There's nothing in the Bronx specific to LGBTQ except for Destination Tomorrow. I think Destination Tomorrow is the only one that is doing something. I'm pretty sure he has a drop-in shelter. It may only operate a couple nights a week or a few nights a week, but I believe he is running a drop-in shelter. It may only be for a certain population. For instance, it may only be for youth, but I do know that he's operating at least some kind of drop-in shelter. So,
yeah, and I heard he's rocking and rolling with funds and stuff too.
I wouldn't go that far. I really would.
I heard it's a great program and that it's being taken seriously by people that need to take it seriously, and it's getting funding. And
if y'all want to learn more about Destination Tomorrow, he's going to actually be on my radio show on Monday at 3 o'clock.
I guess the reason I was sort of referencing that is if he's providing those type of services, then shouldn't we just direct people there? I mean, I don't know that we can provide those type of services ourselves, whether we're an information source to tell people, oh, okay, here's where you can go.
I don't know of,
and I'm all about getting like a link on our website or, doing.
Well, I mean, then in that case, and if he is running a drop-in shelter, I know that I went to launching of Destinations Tomorrow's new place back maybe about a half year ago. I don't remember those services being mentioned, but if he is, then I think maybe doing a little bit of advertising to our members, sending out things to our members, and then as we outreach and whatnot, just having that be a little bit of a constant thing, and maybe just letting them know that
if we're gonna put a link on our website, we can advertise if there's an LGBT youth homeless shelter in Manhattan. We can still promote it. I mean, if you're homeless in the Bronx, then if you can still.
Well, they're in our service area actually. The LA Forney Center is in.
Especially if there are none in the Bronx, then do your best to get them.
LA Forney Center is our service area.
What's the one on SS Street? I know this LGBT.
Sylvia's Place. Is that the one you're thinking of?
Yeah.
By
We have
NCC NY Charities. Is that the one?
I'm
No,
sorry.
that's the one.
Are you talking about True Colors?
Next time I go,
Okay.
I'll bring some.
But in our service area, which my understanding is that Harlem is our service area, so we do have the LA Forney Center in Harlem. That center is actually a drop-in center for LGBTQ youth, and they keep their services strictly to LGBTQ youth, I think 18 to 24. And I can reach out to Carl if you want me to. We have in contact quite a bit.
That would be great.
Additionally, in Manhattan is New Alternatives, which runs a program which I currently work for 4 days a week. They run programs, different types of groups, anger management groups. They're primarily geared towards the transgender community, which is also a resource for transgender people of youth. They actually only do intake from 18 to 24, but you're always a member no matter how old you are.
in the green chimneys, or did they fold?
I think they folded.
But I think the only role we can play in this process is getting the information to other facilities out.
So, actually, Chad, speaking of what you're talking about is serving as a resource center. I do just want to remind people that we've actually been sitting on a phone number that we own that is a helpline. We just don't have the resources to staff it and develop the resource guide that needs to be developed. But we do actually have a phone number. It's the only phone number in New York City. There is no LGBTQ specific helpline in all of New York City. We have the phone number for it. It's 347-LGBT-HLP. So if somebody like maybe George or Evan would be interested in seeing if we could maybe get some volunteers together to begin training and operating the helpline at least a few nights a week, that could be something we could do this year.
I think that's one of the greatest resources we can provide. I just think we need to build our membership. I mean, I think you're looking at the entirety of our organization in this room right now.
I don't think we're good more than that.
So I'm all about that. That's a wonderful idea. We just need a big organization to be able to do something.
I also want to emphasize that if we do a directory coming from the transgender aspect and having been a person who was homeless and needing these services, and that's actually how I got to New York City 4 years ago, that we need to really make sure that these services are not discriminating against the people that we're sending to them. A pure example, just about any hospital or substance abuse treatment center will not take transgender people in the way that they're supposed to, which is I identify as a female, I am a female, I should be housed with females. Most of them want to try to house transgender people by themselves or transgender people by what they were born as. So I would stress that if we do a guide, that we do a guide that says, okay, LGBT people, these places are good for you, possibly, these places are good for trans people, I would almost go as far to say that we should exclude every single organization or every single resource that wouldn't accommodate trans people, but that would be a disadvantage to LGBT people.
I guess we would all agree we're not going to promote anyone that discriminates against anyone else. So we would just try to ensure that whoever we're promoting their services, that they don't discriminate, on any basis or any.
That's what we are. So what I would suggest is that as we're making this directory, just put me in the loop as far as who's on that.
Well, do you want to get a list of? I mean, I think we can all agree we're willing to put this list on our website, right?
Well, I don't think it's a good idea to just put a list on the website without having something behind it, because you really, it gets underutilized and misutilized when you just have the information there without somebody to guide people to what may be the most appropriate thing. For instance, with the legal clinic, would you be comfortable with putting your entire resource guide just out on the internet without an attorney to guide people to the right organization or service?
Well, no. I think a homeless shelter is a little bit different than legal advice stuff. And if we have 5 or 6 shelters across New York City that are 3 or 4 or 2, we could put a little description. Takes men only, takes women only, takes transgender community, or accepts transgender community, accepts all people. I mean,
Children.
We put a blurb about from their own promotional material.
I would go as far as to say that we need to know the experiences of people that have actually used these services. So.
I mean, putting the guide together is one thing, and it's actually, in part, it's duplicating some work that other city agencies are doing, which I know is going on right now. But I did kind of point toward George and Evan when I asked about creating, or a training program to train some volunteers to staff a helpline. There are other resources that we could get for that. I mean, what do you guys think about that, or maybe the interns and?
I would have no idea how to do that. That's one. And two, yours, I mean, I don't like saying this openly, but I don't know, I'm a little comfortable with time commitments on that.
I think maybe the phone line and whatever initiatives and goals we may have towards addressing the homelessness issue could be more on future goals section rather than, tonight. We named a few things tonight that are very doable, and that we can do in the next month, 2 months, 3 months. I'm not saying these other issues aren't important and that they shouldn't be future goals of our organization, but maybe let's focus a little tonight. And I think you called for future goals, and that's what you were talking about, so that's great, but we may not need to go any further tonight.
I'd like this to also reach back. Rich Nisanoff was one of the first people on the Miguel helpline, and he might have some good things to say, or helpful things to say, and he might even be willing to contribute. NISONOF.
I have experience in that space, but I mean, I guess I want to know, like, on what capacity are we looking to do that? Is this for the whole city? Do we have a phone set up? Like, what are the logistics behind that? Are you looking to have like one cell phone that we're passing around? Are you saying you want me to like create a training program? I guess it's very
good question, and I think
just jump in.
those are the things we don't quite have answers to.
Right.
Well,
So we have a number, we don't have
A phone number.
We have a phone number that can ring up to 5 phones simultaneously.
but it would be a cell phone. Like, maybe
Doesn't
we have to
matter.
talk about it.
You will forward to your own phone, so let's say.
Got it.
Or it could be an office phone. It doesn't matter what kind of phone. It would just ring up to 5 phones simultaneously if somebody called.
And it would always be the same phone?
It could be changed.
Okay. Because that is a big time commitment thing, obviously.
Well, I mean, I'm not talking about a full-time helpline, especially to start off. When there is a national organization that helps centers create helplines, and they're willing to help us create this and set up and get off the ground. One of the things they suggested is doing like 3 or 4 hours an evening, 2 or 3 times a week, to start off. And as demand for it builds, it could expand. But at least to start off, at least 3 hours twice a week or 4 hours twice a week.
I mean, we can talk off about the logistics and specifications, but I guess going back to the housing shelter thing as well. I think I wasn't able to be around a lot last year, but a lot of times we like talk about ideas and then we don't have specific goals in mind. And I know the 14th is the next meeting, and then I think the list, especially with a map, is a good idea. But if we feel like we have to go in and find out those lived experiences, whether good or bad, I think that's something maybe we should set a goal to start doing, so we can have that up and running. Maybe not by the 14th, but by May or whenever. But like start little by little, because a lot of times we talk about the big idea and then we don't start working towards that.
Okay. So what is it specifically that you're proposing? Sure. The helpline?
I'm going to talk with him about that. No, that was about the homeless shelters.
Oh, the homeless.
So if we wanted, I don't know who we'd reach out to, but if we can start to reach out to people who have stayed at these locations.
I'm actually getting a response from Sean right now this time.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. So good.
Okay.
Let's set a goal.
George?
So, like you said, but I guess what I want to update people about, a couple months ago, Moise asked me to consider joining Fine to the Harlem Bronx LGBT task force. He asked me about in November, well, I think they were still forming their core membership, but then he asked me again, I think in December, and I was a little interested. I did an application, just I guess I wanted to update you guys. they're actually trying to, I was emailing, I think the gentleman's name is Stephen Butler. So he actually he's stepping into them sometime next week. He hasn't set the date yet. I actually missed the first time he set up. But I thought it'd be interesting to at least be like, when it's in this group is that one thing they're doing is try to join together people who are representing either the Bronx, Manhattan, or especially various community organizations in the Bronx. So it's something that I think would be good at least for kids organization to be a part of, but if it's me, fine. Because one thing's actually happened that one of the I went to a Manhattan community board meeting once, and I was asked if I was familiar with this organization, what they were doing, and I was like, not really. So it might be helpful not to avoid people stepping on each other's toes, so people, together communication going a little more freely. So I just wanted to bring that up to the table and let, I guess, the organization board know that's one thing I'm doing, and I might be updating about.
I am so thrilled to know that there is an LGBT task force. I mean, that sounds really good. That sounds, really positive. So
When will you find out about your application?
Sorry?
When will you find out about your application?
See, I did mail it back in January, so Mr. Steven emailed me asking to, I guess for me to interview with them, and actually sometime next week. So he emailed me back and said, can I just let him know some days.
So this is an LGBTQ task force.
Right. It was originally initiated by then council member Melissa Mark-Brito's office, and some organizations in the Bronx. We were part of the initial conversations and meetings, and as things move forward, they asked for people to be specifically admitted to the task force and join. So George has been applying to represent the center and the Bronx as both the residents.
Does it have a
Yes,
mission?
or
I'm actually a little particular about mainly representing the center, because I'm more interested in this organization's, let's say, mission statements than the task force. But anything they ask me to do, that I'm fine with. Representing the Bronx,
well, as
let's say my passion is to be a liaison.
I guess as a representative of as a Bronx resident, I should say.
Okay.
Because you live in the Bronx and
But
so.
you do anticipate yourself being the center's voice on that task force.
I like the word liaison. I like the word liaison. Yes, presence better.
Liaison. We use your word. I like that. All right. Good. I like that.
I have an update from Sean.
Mm-hmm.
He's hoping to launch the homeless services by fall.
Okay.
And yes,
But
they do have a dropping
they do
center
have a
for
drop-in,
3
right.
days a week.
3 days a week now. Okay. Initially, I think it was 2, and then I think they expanded.
Tuesday,
So
Thursday, and Friday.
Tuesday,
As
Thursday.
it comes in.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, so
I know we're starting to wrap up, and I just wanted to find out what the plan with how you're planning to move forward with the committee and how I can get involved with that.
The planning committee?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, what's your name?
Saif, S-A-Y-I-E-F.
Please keep in mind that this is public, everything that you say is correct.
Okay, I'm not asking for contact information. Well, I can get that as long as I know who's interested, and I'll reach out. Absolutely.
Oh, shoot.
No.
Steve.
That's me, Jennifer. And just to update you, the drop-in center is at 547 East 146th Street. 547 East.
Right, so second to last thing is, as I said, after the last membership meeting, folks talked about having membership meetings more frequently to A, get the community more involved, B, have greater participation in the organization as just a regular member of the organization. So would anyone like to address that? Make a motion that we do quarterly meetings, or
No, I'm against it. I think that first you have to build something that people will come to.
okay?
I think there's no harm in having them, despite whatever. I mean, people that want to get involved will have an easier opportunity to get involved, because if you're not a part of the center, you want to, and you have an annual meeting, I think it'll be difficult.
I think that tonight we have covered so much that having a quarterly or even more frequent membership meeting would be excellent for this organization. I have not seen this organization this lively. I mean, I don't want to be negative. Most of the meetings that I've attended and listened to, there have been a lot of arguing and bickering going on and no movement forward. This is a big movement forward tonight. I mean, we should all pat ourselves on the back.
Any thoughts, motions?
Make a motion to hold quarterly membership meetings.
I said,
Okay. Any other discussion? Call the motion, all in favor? Any opposed?
Me.
Motion passes with Randy opposing? That was the only person, right? Okay, and given the hour, I think we should leave the other matter for the next meeting? Or do you want to talk about it now? I mean, we're pushing the time we gotta be out of here.
Why don't I do this? Why don't I submit, we're talking, by the way, about the motion to require the board members to be, the board meetings to be broadcast live. I'll submit a statement referencing the 3 different areas of the bylaws which prohibit this type of vote from going forward, and pass it out, and then we can, well, actually, I'll be arguing why that vote can't even take place. So, and then the board, which should be the ones that decide what's on this agenda anyway, which didn't put that on the first agenda, can decide whether or not it will be on the next general meeting agenda.
Well, it's a tabled motion, so it would still be able to be resurrected from the table. But,
all right.
So.
Well, one of my arguments is it should never have been on that agenda to begin with, but that'll be one of the arguments I'll type out.
On which agenda?
On the last meeting's agenda.
It wasn't on the agenda. It was a motion that was made by a member.
Okay. You can table it if you want.
I mean, it is tabled, but you can, you said you wanted to make a statement.
Well, let's check this. Is there anybody here? Does everybody know what motion we're talking about?
no.
Yes, and it's been like getting the deadline.
I thank you very much. Is there anybody here who would vote to make the board members, board meetings public?
Yes.
Nay.
No. God, no. Okay. Then you know what, Peter? Let's have this meeting, let's have this vote right now, because we can vote it down once and for all. I move that we vote right now on the tabled motion to require the board to broadcast its meetings on the internet and archive them on the internet to be watched. Is there anyone, well, you can call the vote.
I don't know what.
The board meetings are open to members, right?
Board meetings are open to board.
But we don't want them, I don't want them streamed.
We don't want them broadcast live, no. So
I think it's a bad idea. Come on.
I now have 4 proxies. I'm
think-
You have
I
2
think that
proxies.
Robert gave me his and Union's what he meant.
I think that it's
I didn't hear that.
Well, I'll show you the thing.
You can't give someone else a proxy in the middle of the meeting.
Why not?
Why not?
You have the lead.
I've never heard of that being done.
Well, so
Are we open for discussion on this? Is
We're
there a
open for
mo-
discussion.
is
There's
there
a motion pending on the table. It
What's the
was at the The motion is to require the board to broadcast its meetings live on the internet and have them available for archiving so that people can view them when they want to. And people can see what the board is doing without having to physically come and attend a meeting.
So,
Because the
and we're in
board-
discussion right now?
And we're in discussion.
Okay, so my point of view on this is that if you're unable to make the meeting at a certain time, if you're unable to be here present, then you're able to go back and take a look at it, such as I've done, and catch yourself up with what's going on with this organization. I think it's a wonderful asset and a wonderful tool. I think that it's something that's being done in more and more organizations. I also take the standpoint that we should be 100% transparent. You have to remember, there's a lot of people out there that think that we're still the old organization. And for them to be able to go into our archives and take a look at the fact that we're having this meeting and that we're not hiding anything from anybody, you know? It speaks a lot for us. For somebody who in the future wants to take a much deeper look into the organization and see how we operate, they can go to those archives and watch these meetings after the fact and say, wow, that's a good organization, you know? The downside is when there's bickering going on. But I'll tell you, I think, and I might be wrong about this, but I think that that once we know that we're live out there being videotaped for the world to see in 20, 30, 40 years from now, that bickering is going to probably die down quite a bit.
I agree in spirit with what you're saying. I personally wonder whether they should be open to begin with, in light of some things that I've witnessed at board meetings, and I definitely think that they should not be broadcasted to an open audience and available for anyone to see. Not, I mean, members, there's a different level of understanding, but just to random strangers all over the place, I think that's membership meetings should be. But board meetings are, they're board meetings, not membership meetings. And I think that that's an important distinction to make.
There are a few positives and many more negatives. And you highlighted a few of the possible positives, but the negatives way outweigh the positives. So it sounds like we have two.
I have a question.
Can I
Randy.
Before the question, may I?
We do have to stop discussion at some point. So you've had your turn.
Okay, I think that there are many avenues for people to attend our meetings, as we demonstrated here today. We've had people Skype, phone, whatever. It's not like where if you have to miss a meeting, you have to miss it entirely. They can be present in some other virtual reality. That's fine. Attending a meeting is very different than having our meetings archived and opening that. It's a Pandora's box. It's nobody's business.
We did it, and we slandered ourselves. We libeled it. It was awful.
Chad, I know that you asked me not to talk, but I was just asking you to qualify when you said negative things. Such as,
you know what you can do? You can go back and search those archives. We have spoken on this issue. We have spoken on this issue for about the last 10 meetings. And my position has been very well documented in all of these meetings. So if you want to know the negatives, you can go back and look at the archives. You can go back and look at the minutes because they're very well documented. I want this to be put to a vote once and for all. And I never want the Bronx Center to ever have to discuss this issue again.
Okay, I'm George.
Because I've seen some of the past archives. I happen to think it's a good idea, but I do not like at all the idea of having decisions made by the membership. I think it should be made by the board.
It already has been made by the board.
Okay.
And the board voted no.
Okay, if I may. Okay. And because my thinking is, it strikes me as interference with something that the board would be an expert on, whether it's technological, whether it's financial. I am concerned about tying the board's hands in a way that the board will be more specialized in. I also am concerned about the kind of ramification decision, especially really meeting quarterly. I think the board, I actually do not agree that it should be decided once and for all. I think one of the benefits of having it be decided by the board is to visit it as needed. That's my spiel.
The bylaws clearly state that the board dictates how its meetings are to be conducted. So I don't even think this is a proper vote to begin with. However, if it will put the issue to rest, and I happen to know that we have the votes to put the issue to rest, fine. Even though I think it's an improper vote, let's vote on it and put it to rest.
Well,
If it's not
Okay.
a proper vote, why would you want to vote on it?
In
Because
response to
they'll
everything,
keep finding a way to bring it up again and again and again. And every meeting will keep.
all right, Chad,
10,
you've had your
15,
chance to
20
speak,
minutes on
Chad. If you're gonna cut other people up, I am actually the chair of the meeting. Okay.
Okay, so let's.
So in response to everything that's said, George, this is actually a membership-based organization. It's unlike most other nonprofits. Most nonprofits are not membership-based organizations. The members of this organization are the ones who are in control of the organization. The board serves at the pleasure or displeasure of the membership. So in that respect, we are, quite different than other nonprofit organizations and other community centers. One of the reasons that it was set up this way is that we are a community center, and as a community center, the community should really be the ones who are in control of the organization. It shouldn't be a board of directors who appoint themselves and dictate to the community. It should be the community that says, hey, this is what we want, this is what we'd like you to do, find a way to make it happen. And that's how this organization was set up.
I disagree.
So-
I disagree because what you said about this being, the board serving at the pleasure of the membership, the bylaws are very clear. The power that the board has, it has. The membership cannot take it away. They cannot.
The membership isn't taking it away. The membership is making a motion to direct the board to do something.
And by what auspices?
By New York State not-for-profit corporations law.
No, and in our own bylaws.
In our
What's the
own
mechanism?
bylaws,
What's
the
mechanism?
members can make motions. We vote the board of directors in.
Is this an amendment to the bylaws?
This is not an amendment to the bylaws. It's a motion.
But they.
A motion
Provide
to
a
ignore
direction.
what the bylaws
The
say.
members
No,
can
it's
make-
not
The
ignoring what the
membership has
bylaws say.
agreed
I'm
via
sorry?
the bylaw. The membership has agreed via the bylaws to let the board run things as they see fit. We can't be responsive, or I shouldn't say we, but every time a member just feels like, having an idea, that should not suddenly rock our boat, Yes, you can bring it up, you can talk about it, but
To quote Article 5, Governance Structure, subsection 15, subsection A, the board will determine how its meetings shall be open to the members and may allow the general public at large to its meeting. Nothing contained in this section shall be construed to give the general public a right to address the board, to grant its powers, or how its meetings will be conducted.
The general public, but not members. It doesn't say
says
nothing.
the
It
board
doesn't say that
controls how we
members-
conduct our
It doesn't
meetings.
say that members can't direct the board.
Well, it's perfectly okay for us to have a disagreement about the interpretation of the rules. That's why I'm saying if you think you want to vote on this, then let's vote on it, because we don't know how the vote's going to come out. And we can stop bickering about this ancillary issue and spend more attention talking about the wonderful things that we've discussed tonight.
I'm in favor of voting it because if we had let this conversation run on the way we did with the elections
Well,
last
now
time, we would have.
Chad is raising the issue that the membership is not empowered to do it. And
He
one of the
raised that
things I
issue
suggested last time is that we should seek a legal opinion,
Well, you got one.
an outside legal opinion.
You got two.
An outside legal opinion being someone who's not affiliated with the organization.
Chad's correct. Chad's correct. With what he's saying about.
The
You
membership
wrote
is
the
empowered
bylaws,
to
you
do.
should know what they say.
Yeah, and the membership is empowered to direct the board.
Can we put it to a vote?
Correct vote, why do you want to vote on it?
Because it'll keep, if I don't allow the vote to happen, it'll keep coming up, and it's just strategic, so let it happen, let it die.
So we're voting?
All right, all in favor?
No,
All in favor of
Wait,
what?
huh?
All in favor of what?
Okay.
It's not a correct vote according to Chad.
It's being put to a vote. All in favor of?
All in favor of the motion? Aye.
The motion.
You're in favor of the motion? Oh, yeah.
I'm in favor of the motion.
Okay. All opposed, and I vote for myself, Yuri Belkin, Cynthia Tompkins, Rob Margolis, and the representative from Yuri. So
And I carry 6 proxies.
I'm
I
5 noes.
abstain.
All right, so
I'm gonna
it's,
revote. I'm gonna actually
No,
include
it's
the
6.
whole entire transgender community under my vote.
I have the proxies. I have the
It's-
proxies here.
it's 6-7 to 5, 6. I'm sorry, Evan, what was your vote?
Which way is which? For no.
Not broadcasting the meetings? And Stephen,
I
are you abstaining or? So it's 7 to 6. In favor.
How? So who voted yes?
I voted yes in the rest.
I did plus the 6 proxies that I carry.
You told me when we opened the meeting you had 2 proxies.
No, I said I had
Are they-
3 proxies plus some other ones. I have them.
And they're listed in the minutes.
They're listed in the minutes.
Can we stop recording this now?
No,
This is egregious misconduct.
yes, it's not. You, and when we first,
I listed the proxies. I still have the proxies from the last membership.
you
meeting
can't
where I had
carry them
6.
over.
Yes, you
can't carry
can.
them over.
Until they're rescinded, I can carry them over.
That's egregious
It
misconduct
is
in
not
itself.
egregious misconduct.
Maintaining someone's proxy vote who's fundamentally not
The
active in the
proxy-
organization.
They're active in the organization. They're current
Okay, you know
members.
what?
If they've missed the meeting last meeting and they're not at this meeting either, which is how you maintain the
proxy
proxy
is for
vote,
the
then it
year.
appears that that is a gross manipulation.
All right, you know what? Then you know what, Peter? I'm gonna quote.
Can I make a motion to
Because
end
this is a
Can I make a
continuation.
motion to
This is actually a
pause this vote
continuation of.
warrant?
This is actually a
Can I finish my
continuation
motion?
of last.
I second your motion.
Last misconduct meeting where you walked in with 7 proxy votes.
Yes.
Can I make a motion to suspend this vote until
Well, the
the
vote
proxy
passed.
issue
I mean, you
is?
wanted to call the vote. The vote passed.
Can I make a motion to suspend this
yes.
vote until
The vote passed.
Okay.
You made. You wanted to call the vote.
What?
The vote passed.
What do you do? I guess
I'm in my last semester of school.
This is the issue we face with membership.
And
This
I
kind of-
was working.
People
I
are
had-
present in the rooms. You
I had
come in
6 or
with your-
7
you're
proxies
7.
at the last meeting,
Okay.
and this is a
So you carry
continuation of
6
that meeting.
proxies. So you
I
have
carry a minimum of 6
Very
proxies, maybe
excited
7.
that,
So
I have to go
with
back
your
and-
vote, that's 7.
Right.
In a room where we have 12
Even just the.
Well,
members.
at the last
So we want
membership
community
meeting we had
involvement,
last-
but the people in the room's voices were overruled by the voices that you carry through the computer.
Yes. I was on the committee for that.
And your boyfriend's name is Chad Johnson.
Ex-boy.
No, I didn't. I carried the proxies from the previous meeting. And at the previous meeting, we had 20 people.
Chad
Yeah.
Johnson.
We'd love to continue the
Yeah.
conversation. You all
That'd be great.
Like the only
Can I get a
no-brainer.
motion to adjourn?
Motion to close the meeting.
Is there a
Yeah,
second?
I was like, Chad Johnson, Chad Johnson.
Right. Okay, now, okay, you know what? Everything makes so much sense.
All in favor?
All in favor to close the meeting?
Buddha is adopting.
Oh, wait, we're having quarterly meetings, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Um,
I was like, I'm dating.
do we want to set a date for the next meeting?
See what,
I trust your
what,
ability to find.
but his boyfriend is in the same program. as me.
All right. Where's, I have my broadcast.
He's on that.
All right, the meeting is ended at 8:32.
8:32.
8:32. Do me a favor. Can you please help me,
Yeah, lucky you.
gather up all my tech? Gather up all my tech. My tech.
Oh, really? So,
So what was the final outcome of that?
The final outcome is I still have the proxies from the last meeting.
Can I see the roll call?
Peter, you're gonna
I
lose.
have to, it's on that.
You've lost my